up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru.
Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a great day so far. Oh, who we got in the chat? We've got Coma, Overcome. Let's pull this up here. Change this to live chat. Always got. There we go. Got Coma, Overcome, Jillian, Lad, what's up? Sturdy, Sports Zone, Mikey, Trip, Buenos Dias, Eric. All right, cool. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today's the giveaway day, so we'll be giving away $100 worth of Karma, and we'll also be giving away like a $6,000 account to Klein Funding. We do some TA on Bitcoin. I got until 12:30 p.m. Eastern today before I have to leave. I gotta get my son early. There's a snowstorm. Snowstorm coming here in Canada, so gotta get him from school early today. But yeah, so let's go over it. So we had all of our clairvoyant strategy rules met on the 15-minute time frame here. When we have this bullish change of character where price action came up, back down, took the low, generating this as our strong high. We closed above it, entered off those conditions, and then we came up, and I was asleep during this time, but a member mentioned Coma. He said that there's a sell wall here that helped induce this drop. So when we had that drop, you can dissect things in the lower time frames, like the 5 minute, and we saw that we got that opposing bearish change of character on the 5, lost momentum, confirmed momentum as resistance, and started coming back down. So this was like an early exit opportunity to then prepare to jump back in, because the larger time frame posture still suggested that we're going back up, and it still does. So what I did end up doing is we took some gains throughout this crazy price action. Some people are still holding, which is still great. The stop loss suggestion I provided was based on like an internal strong low, like here, being guarded by the 13-day value area low and the VWAP at that time. We do have a strong low here that I'd highly recommend if you're jumping in on anything here and you're trying to get that full rotation to the value area high at 70,000 or 69,800. I'd recommend trying to keep your strong low here to give it some breathing room. We did have data come out suggesting that the GDP has gotten about 1.4% stronger, but they were expecting for it to be much higher than that. They're expecting to be at like 4.4%. So basically suggesting that government spending high, the consumer spending is low, stuff like that. But it is still growing, just at a slower pace than people thought. Caused a little bit of a whipsaw event. But now we are still within our orb, which is great. The orb is the first 15-minute candle close of the day of the New York session. We got it from this doji response here, right before the crazy whipsaw event we had from here to here. I got myself a re-entry during this moment, like a low time frame, 5-minute acceptance into value area. A 3-minute probably would have been better when you see that like sweep of the local lows, close within here. But it was like super fast-paced reactional. But now we're what's nice is we fought against the supply and mitigated it with this crazy wick. So think of it like chipping away at armor. If we broke the armor, so it'll be a lot easier for us to go back up. I don't know what it is with traders today, but when looking at the liquidation heat maps, like people are aping into stuff way too soon. This is the 24-hour liquidation heat map on Binance perpetuals, and we see that people on Binance aped into their long here, which was a great spot, by the way, to prepare for longs. We had confluence of the golden pocket. So if you were to pull a golden pocket from this low to this high, here to here, we had the confluence of taking these local lows, the valley area low and the golden pocket, giving us a great reaction. And when we tested that uptrending momentum as resistance and mitigated supply, like that was a good exit plan for that quick scalp. But yeah, people jumped into it way too soon. It's like they jumped in the highest leverage they could find. It must have been beyond 100x. Like it had to have been beyond 100x, or they jumped in too soon because they got liquidated right at the golden pocket. And then a little bit later on, when we got acceptance into the orb, we saw some liquidity appear down below it. So then these guys were smarter, safer, and more patient, so they're not knocked out of the race yet. And then again, crazy reaction here. People jumping into shorts way too soon. But now we have liquidity resting literally on the wick for like $48 million, waiting on that crazy sell shadow wick right above us. And above, when we got that 5-minute opposing bearish change of character and we lost momentum, some people jumped into short there too. So it looks like they used the sell wall confluence at this time to jump into a short. But now we have all that liquidity up there to be taken to help assist us in our rotation to the opposite side of this valley area. The point of control is still an area of concern where I am planning for an early exit plan there if we see any opposing reactions, preferably on the 15-minute time frame. But if we see an opposing reaction here, bearish change of character, be internal, I'll be expecting for it to potentially rotate back down. But if we build any demand along there, then I'll be watching that to help hold us up and hopefully continue us up to that valley area high. We are getting closer and closer to the weekend. So I put a vertical line on my chart. I recommend you guys getting into the habit of doing this too, where if we're getting closer to a weekend or a US dollar impacting event like FOMC or CPI, stuff like that, just to mark it on your chart so you know when it's going to happen. So this is when today's daily candle will close. That's what I got it marked here at. So if we close around here, this is like a 15-minute warning. Where I want structure to be is going to be important. Like I want structure to be above the point of control so that we can dance around it with low volume and then eventually likely hit our target throughout the weekend. If we're below it before the end of the daily candle close, then that low volume makes this a harder battle to beat. So just something to take note of. This is our positioning. We want our position to be at the point of control before the daily candle closes. We'll have the view up on our side, the orb on our side, and structure on the hourly is still on our side here. So yeah, I'm in an active long position and just basically waiting for the clairvoyant strategy target to be hit, rotating to that valley area high. So I hope that helps you guys out. I bet we're starting to stack some more liquidity below us. So I do not think that this is going to be the move that brings us to crazy new highs or anything like that. This is the bottom being called yet. But if we're being optimistic on what could occur, like early next week, we could see us come as high as like 74,400. That's like kind of limit for me. And what I expect for Bitcoin to do in terms of a move up. We might not even get there. We could just sweep the high at 72,250 and then come back down. And this is like the most optimistic targets that we've got right now in store for us. Because we have a massive supply concern here. Like this is a big boss right now that's going to prevent us from going any higher. And then we have our April 7th low, which is the previous low from when we were down here. And getting acceptance into this would be great, but we do have that supply. So we have to start chipping away at that armor first before expecting for us to start going towards all-time highs again, or at least 98K. I'm still begging for the low to be taken first. For us to maybe hit our head here over the weekend, have our target hit, of course, and then come back down. Hoping for the 59.9 to be taken so that we can alter market structure to give us a lower key level so we can have more trade participants when we break our current high. But yeah, that's Bitcoin right now. Just sitting on our hands, waiting for our target to be hit. There's the re-entry opportunity of the golden pocket, re-entry opportunity at acceptance into the orb. VWAP right now is our main threat, and the orb high confluence. So getting above that, having a proper close above here, using it as support, and then we can see us get to that point of control up here. So yeah, lots of activity at the start of the day. Hopefully that volume maintains itself and we start getting that pump back up. Congrats to anyone who might have gotten that. That was a great confluence entry. We got more people in here. What's up? I got our giveaway set up. Yeah, you guys can say the word giveaway throughout this chat, and it's going to be logged. I already got it programmed. So if you say giveaway throughout this chat, you'll be entered into the giveaway there. Latest news from Andrew. Tariffs illegal. Well, we knew that. That it's been illegal for... Yeah. Is the news just resurfacing again? Get ready for Trump going nuts. His posts are going to cause some crazy movement. Yeah. if the tariffs are being claimed as illegal finally, maybe the Supreme Court spoke up again about it, then I would say that's more bullish for not just crypto, but the markets in general. That could mean that pressure is going to be relieved in the market for institutions, for retail spending, all that stuff. And that would probably help, bring us more liquidity to pump the markets. So that, but there's still uncertainty with that. We'd need to see some clarity on that for us to probably see a violent move. And that could be a good conduit. If all the tariffs are removed, that could be the conduit for the bottom, right? There's a lot of good conduits that could call the bottom, but I think that's an easy one to predict right now. Just Steve-O. Trump is nuts. Yeah, when the orange man talks, it gets a little scary. I get it. I don't really try to talk politics on this channel, though, because some people's beliefs, you get it. All right, you got some people jumping on the giveaway already. All right, cool. What do you guys want to look at today? I do want to talk about BNB. BNB, we were looking at that on our last live. We're talking about finding support at this Valley area low. It is meeting the same rules as like Bitcoin. We do have the confluence of us meeting this 95-day point of control with this local Valley area low. We're starting to break downtrending momentum. We expected to bounce. We got the bounce. We broke. We're on the 15-minute time frame right now. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see. It barely accepted it. But we got our rules met during this moment. Immediately started going against us and that kind of stuff. I didn't jump in on it. This happened around like 5:30 in the morning. But we had that inverse head and shoulders posture, right? And our strong low wasn't taken. So we had that whipsaw event as well with BNB. Most assets are going to provide us a similar structure to what happened with Bitcoin because of its pairing liquidity. But getting that higher high gives that inverse head and shoulders break. You could, rather than having this as your stop loss when we confirmed here, you could have it here instead when we close above that wick, right? And target the Valley area high. So here, see what kind of R&R we get. Not great. 1 to 1.8. So you kind of want to have a pullback prior to the break or afterwards. Getting a higher price does not mean less money to be made. Okay, because we can have a pullback here at a higher price, close above it, get that break of structure, and then you'd have a 2.5 with that exact same target, right? Right, or having that break and then getting in on the pullback when we retest these levels, right? And maintaining the same stop loss suggestion, right? You potentially can get better R&R from that kind of scenario too. But yeah, all I'm really suggesting right now is that BNB is very likely to be going up to the Valley area high. So whether you're going to be jumping into a new position or holding an existing position, I'm expecting for us to get that rotation alongside Bitcoin up to this Valley area high. Its local Valley area high is at 638. Its 95-day previous Valley area high is at 643. And I do expect us to hit our head here. Just be a little cautious. But if you have that scenario telling you that you can hold your trade, it'll look like a break of structure, holding off of the Valley area high or this previous high, and then getting a higher high during that moment, telling you that you could rotate your stop loss just below here. So if you have that bearish change of character and acceptance in the Valley area, we're very likely to be rotating back down anyways. So looking for pullbacks, higher highs, pullbacks, higher highs, using those breaks of structure, strong lows to evolve your stop loss will help you secure your capital in the event that we do turn around. All right. So finding a key level when we get to the Valley area high, it's really, really important for helping you identify like a good spot to protect your capital, secure your gains, and then just using hopium for the continuation at that point, right? Obviously, it doesn't have to be based on hopium. You can analyze it yourself. Cardano, a little weird. So it's has inverse head and shoulders posture. It does seem to have some relative strength lately, thanks to this like really strong point of control, keeping us up. Right, same kind of posture as BNB in the sense where we have that inverse head and shoulders. But look at where it's at right now. Right, everything else is still kind of at its value or low. You know, Bitcoin slow crawling up. So Cardano has definitely got some relative strength. This will also signal relative weakness when you see these violent moves to the upside, right? When Bitcoin starts finding opposing resistance, just be aware that when Bitcoin finds resistance, whether it be likely at the point of control, right? Cardano might get hit really hard from that and retrace this massive fair value gap that we're creating right now. So just be aware of that. Relative strength provides eventually relative weakness, meaning it will move on its own and a lot more aggressive moves. Pretty intense. What else do you guys want to look at? We got Coma. Oh, thanks, Coma. Yeah, helping us go through the list here. A Scottish reward against tariffs. Nice, Brett. Okay. That's great. I think that's bullish news. God, Andrew, I can't even read that out loud, bro. All right, let's look at... we got dot Sui requests. Let's look at dot. I haven't looked at dot in a while. Dot has been getting its butt kicked, so I'm interested in seeing how it's doing. Like dot, man, had such good promise. Like this valley area was king, and when we lost it, it sucked. So yeah, dot. What we really wanted to have happen with dot, like we entered some longs here and here, trying to get that full rotation to this macro value high that has been inside of for 1,000 days. Yeah, 1,147 days. But we lost the valley area, confirmed it as resistance here, and then really lost it when we got a close below this low, right? This October 10th crash really messed up the charts for dot, so pretty much everything's internal, right? For a lot of assets, like Atom, I think is going to be internal until we break the high. If we took the low for Atom, then Atom's gone, right? Atom's dead. But at dot, I still think that it could come back up, but I don't know if we're ever going to reclaim that valley area again. Dot does have inflationary tokenomics. Like we last evaluated it probably roughly around April 2025, meaning like if you were to inject the exact same amount of capital in dot that was when it was at the all-time high at $55 during this moment, it would only be worth $33 because of the inflation in its tokenomics. It's something that you should do at least twice a year with the assets that you trade to find out what the market cap all-time high is, because there are investors that will react to it. And it tells you a story about, is it possible for this asset to ever reach its all-time high again? Because there are some that are so inflationary that you should expect them to never reach their all-time high again. A good example is Pancake Swap, Uniswap, any of the DEX tokens, really. They're harder and harder unless they create new like burn structure, like flywheel burn structure that could combat their own inflation. Last time we were looking at dot, it seems like we were looking for longs off a break here. We came down lower, giving us probably lower key levels to front run this, but it did well until we hit that supply previous valley area, and it came down, got a bearish change of character here on the daily, and then came, yeah, continue to go back down. And of course, that's internal because of that crazy wick. Let's dissect things in lower time frames though. So we've been ranging here for a little bit. We got supply here, right? So whenever you see an impulse move down, base of structure, impulse move down, that is evidence that there could be trapped buyers. That is evidence that there could be residual sell orders, right? And it helped induce this range, right? We came through this area and used it as a form of resistance, right? So we kind of started stacking liquidity here, it got taken here, stacked some liquidity here. So that liquidity can help, you know, it could potentially perform as buy side liquidity and help us mitigate this and begin an uptrend during that moment. But the momentum seems kind of stale right now. We're on the 4-hour time frame. Let's pull a rectangle here to the point of mitigation right here. So we're aware that this is supply. And so it acts as good confluence for shorts. We could pull a fixed range volume profile from below the supply up until its mitigation to the current price action, right? We could see we have a B frame in the valley area. That tells us a story that there's technically 2 areas that we have been ranging inside this valley area, right? And the price action moves quickly between it, right? And when we get, it's what's great about these, and when you're looking for entries, these volume gaps, they're, when you have a candle close and it gives you a break of structure or a change of character that you're looking for, then you know you're likely going to get at least a quick rotation to the next volume shelf, right? And that's what we've been seeing happen here. So we can now start going to lower time frames because we're on the 4-hour right now. We're at the valley area high, so we're starting to prepare for the positioning for shorts again. We could build an ascending regression trend, right? So you can mark uptrending momentum, and then you can look at the order books to find out, is there a sell wall chasing this trend line? Can I listen to this trend line, basically, right? The order books will help tell you that story. And then your goal is to get as many connection points as you can with your trend lines. We got it's a little awkward. So we'll see if we end up. But I'd be in short. If you're not in an existing long, you're preparing for a short right now for DOT. How's Bitcoin doing? Oh, doing great. Fuck yeah. Okay. And we just got to get Bitcoin to close above that VWAP on the, like the higher the time frame, the better, of course. Well, we got it on the 15. Sweet. Okay. So we failed when we had this wick here. We failed to get that close above the VWAP. So now getting closes above it, gave us the opportunity to use it as a form of support alongside the orb. So it's looking good. We have liquidity here that can be taken, so we have to watch this in case we SFP. SFP probability is probably relatively high, but I like the body structure right now. Staying above the body of this sell shadow wick. Go back to DOT here. So let's go to the lower time frames now for DOT. All right, so here's our internal supply issue that we had. Induced this drop, right? And then we chipped away at it like armor, adding liquidity, giving us a magnet to eventually take it. A violent reaction, just like Cardano, honestly. It seems like it's the day for altcoins. Yeah, Bitcoin dominance is going down. Doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to go down, but Bitcoin dominance is going down, whereas like Total 3 and others dominance is going up, and USDT dominance is going down. So it's telling us a story that funds are flowing out of USDT and mostly into alts right now. Doesn't mean you can't do Bitcoin trades, but most of the focus right now is saying it's in alts. Now we're coming up to this little local internal valley area. You could pull a fixed range volume profile from here to here. You saw we got acceptance into it. Getting past this point of control, we hit our head off that POC at the start here, but now we're starting to claim above it, helping us get that rotation up towards this valley high. I'd definitely be in short mode here, guys. like waiting for opposing structure. Very, very, very similar to this, right? You see a double top, will either be descending, that'll be a flip, or ascending, that'd be a change of character. And change of characters tend to have more follow through than flips. This one's a flip though. When we have that a flip though in the posture of getting above this value area high and the neckline being above these previous highs, what ends up happening when you close below it is we get acceptance back inside this previous range, and the confluence of hitting supply, like that's a great opportunity to short in hopes for acceptance. Acceptance came here when we had that break of structure within it, telling you can extend your target beyond the measurable target of the double top to the value area low. So same kind of story that we have going on here. We flip bullish during this moment here, at least in most of the time frames. You can probably zoom in and see if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, so we flip bullish here. We broke this high. Stop loss here. Came down, maybe a little bit nervous at first, and then we got the full rotation up. So DOT's doing good, but I'm not expecting to do good for very long. We'll see how well we do against the supply. If we range within the supply and we use this neckline as a form of support, then we have a macro double bottom, right? But at first we should have your bear goggles on until you see that kind of reaction. Using this as support with a break structure, mitigating the supply. The measurable target for this double bottom suggests that we could move up to as high as $1.67, where our regression trend here began, also a form of supply. So if I were to draw pathing before we move on to our next asset, I'd look for a bearish change of character, invalidating this idea, or we come up, break the high, use it as support, break a structure, validating this idea. Okay, so that's DOT. I hope that helps you out, guys. Save layout. You guys can go to the chart. Use the chart command in the Discord, and you'll get access to this chart here. Let's delete this. Bitcoin's doing great. What am I up on? I'm up on like $48. Nothing crazy yet. $52. Let's pull up the chat. How you guys doing? Thanks. No problem, man. Okay. Well, it looks like all of you guys are starting to jump into that giveaway. Got 52 viewers. We still have sell walls at 68K. Let's take a look at that sell wall there, Coma. Let's see how it's doing. Oh, this is Glassnode. I need to go to CoinGlass. CoinGlass. I still miss the old order book. It's taking its sweet time to load. Just a pro tip. I know I say it all the time to the community, but don't leave this open overnight. It will mess up your computer. It stores everything, all these orders that pass, right? And logs it onto your computer, so your virtual memory gets absorbed. So it can go from, 200 gig, 600 megabytes of memory usage all the way up to 5 gigabytes, and then your computer just goes in slow motion until right after you close it. But let's take a look at that sell wall you're talking about. Little baby one at 69K. We got right here at 68,480. A sell wall this size of, so we need to sell 4,500 Bitcoin to get there. But when we get there, there's a 300 Bitcoin jump. yeah, roughly 300 Bitcoin waited to be sold at 68,480. So what you can do is you can mark a horizontal line, type in the coordinates, bam. So we have a sell wall right here. Now that sell wall is also where liquidity is resting. Now, people who are using sell walls don't need as much liquidity as people using market orders. But we do have at $68,451, $42 million worth of liquidity. So 451, just below that is a liquidity pool. And because we're looking at the order books in decimals of 10, this could deviate 10 above and below. Think of it like an aura, 10 above and below worth of orders. It kind of refines it all into one spot. But yeah, just be aware of that when you're using the order books. Your decimal rate suggests that, yeah, they're kind of consolidating it within that $10 price point. Same as if you do it by 50s or 100. I'll sell all here. 300 Bitcoin. Which, by the way, is not a strong sell wall, but it's enough to potentially induce resistance as a form of like horizontal resistance like this, especially if volume slows down. If volume were to maintain itself the way it currently is, like volume's doing pretty good, it would be like one tap and we're through. Okay, what's got in the chat here? Happy Ramadan. Oh, cool. Do you only use the BTC futures on the order book, or do you look at spot? I do look at spot as well, but it has a different type of impact. Spot usually has smaller orders, right? It's not artificial volume, where spot is like true volume, in my opinion. So spot walls are usually stronger and require less Bitcoin to cause an impact over the price. So if you saw like 1,000 Bitcoin spot sell wall, that's definitely going to be a problem. It's going to keep price action from going past there for a while. And buy walls too. But yeah, there's just a lot less activity on the spot side of the fence. No one seems to want to actually own it. All right, so we looked at DOT, we looked at Cardano, we looked at BNB, we looked at Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the list here. We have a request to look at Solana. So let's take a peek at Solana, see how it's doing. And we still have an hour and 15 minutes left before I have to go. Solana broke momentum, nice. Looks like it's doing the same thing. Yeah, doing what we wanted to do for the last time we looked at it. Yeah, you can see what I was talking about last time. Previous valley area. So we're at a macro valley area low. I don't even have to redraw it anymore. But yeah, we're at a macro valley area low. This is the macro valley area high. I encased it with this scribbles. But if you go back in time, you can see where it came from. It helped us prepare for a continuation when we left it here. It helped us prepare for a rotation back down when we got acceptance back up here, right? So this was for like 100 and some day valley area from a leg down during the start of the previous bear market, right? Right after the bull market ended. So it's helping us right now dictate a rotation back up for the longs that we were talking about the last time we were talking about Solana. Based on our trend lines and stuff, it seems like we were talking about it like roughly around the beginning of this week. Let me zoom in on the 15-minute. Now we can adapt our poles here big time. So we have this macro valley area low, like previous valley area data, right? And we can see that we have our demand here, supply here. We can pull this fixed range volume profile. There's technically two ways you can do this. You can pull it from the demand forward. You can pull it from the mitigated supply forward. It's going to give you more data if you pull it from the supply. Let's adapt this here. All right, so we're on our value area low test. Let's delete this. This was honored. We didn't make it our way down here. We're fighting against the point of control as we speak, and a previous value area low, or I guess it was the value area low from this range. We can delete that now and just rotate it here. We get our measurement tool, click and drag, find out how much time has passed. We have 14 days, 8 hours, and 15 minutes in this area. So I like to type those in just so I know what value area am I looking at when I see a horizontal line like that, especially when we have overlap. 14-day previous value area low. Control C, okay. We can mark our point of control and our value area high. Got our value area high here. And our POC. I'm gonna make my own fixed range volume profile so I don't have to keep doing these horizontal lines. I'm telling you, this will save you some time, and you guys time too, because you're watching me do it. All right, here we go. All right, so we can delete this. We know what happened, right? So what we were looking for in that scenario was the bullish change of character. Looking at the 15-minute time frame, this was the moment when we came down, created this as our unclaimed low, and we pulled back, and then we took it, and this became our strong high. And then we came up and took that strong high. We had a change of character and generate this as our strong low. And then during that, we had an opportunity to get in on the candle close here, or pull back and retest here, and we do have a pullback coming back down to what seems like an equilibrium point. Let's see. Yeah, it's equilibrium point. And the 14-day value area low. So as Bitcoin came down and gave us that golden pocket retest and value area confluence, Solana kind of did the same thing, but to its equilibrium point, and tested the value area low. We can delete these order blocks. They are mitigated. They no longer will help us again in the future. We can track as soon as we close above this high with a proper close. We did SFP here, which does suggest that we could come down, but we're holding above the POC. So the following, when you have like a scenario where you have an SFP and you want to jump in on it, but the positioning feels unsafe, I would wait until the positioning feels safe. And what I mean by that is like basically where you want this candle to engulf beyond this doji, right? You would generate an order block during that moment, right? And then you have the POC on your back instead of against you, right? So if you just jumped in here, yeah, you probably would have made better gains, but with the risk that the POC could act as support and bounce right back up and continue. So right now, this does suggest that we're coming back down, and with the 15-minute time frame suggestion of the SFP targeting, it tells us that we're coming back down to here. But we have opposing confluences. We have the 15-minute order block in our face, VWAP in our space, and we still haven't confirmed a close below the POC. So yeah, we got an SFP, but be super cautious. I would wait until the candle closes to see how it closes. 8 minutes and 45 seconds. See what Bitcoin's doing at that time. Is it, I would say you'd want to have Bitcoin below the VWAP and acceptance back inside the orb, so you can have more follow through on your Solana short. But I think it's a little bit of a nerve-wracking time until we find out how this candle closes. I wouldn't touch it yet. We can wrap. I guess there's no point, but yeah, 15-minute order block here, VWAP here, opposing barrier. So if you take it, that would be your TP1 zone, in hopes that we close below it, continue down. Everything looks kind of bullish right now. Let's just be careful. Now for this is, delete that. Our supply here is mitigated. Just adapting everything, changing everything here. 15-minute order block here. Dissecting and just taking a look at the hourly to make sure it's proper. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'd rather monitor the hourly over the 15. Okay, so well, if you're in an existing long position from this change of character reaction or the retest, what you're kind of hoping for is, structure above the POC to get that rotation up to the value area high. At the value area high, I would prepare for shorts, but same kind of scenario as DOT, where if we use this neckline as a form of support, and we could see it run up, but we have a lot of opposing barriers in our face. You got a 100+ day POC. It's not labeled that way, but it's a really strong point of control. Now think of this, Andrew. I'm mainly talking to you. Think of this as the new 144, right? $90.50 is the new 144. 144 is a big problem based on a macro point of control. It kept us down constantly, right? Keeping us from rotating back up to the value high at 168. This area is the new 144. If we break past this and use it as support, then we could rotate up to 106. Okay, but that 106, this is a big supply zone to higher time frames where we can end up getting our head hit here and come back down. Just be cautious there. I personally would be more prone to preparing for shorts here and then rotating back down to the value low at like $82.15, while being mindful of $80 and $84.38 as a barrier along the way down. Bitcoin, you're doing your job. Keep going, buddy. So that's Solana, man. I hope that helps you out. 144 sickening, yeah. Lad agreeing with it being strong point. Right on, man. 28 likes. Yeah, let's see if we can get to 40 likes. If we get to 40 likes before the giveaway, that'd be great. I appreciate your help, guys. Yeah, that helps the algorithm recognize that I exist, that I'm a YouTuber trying to grow. I'm not very entertaining, I know. I just talk what I see in the charts. Best entry for the current Bitcoin long. The best entry, if you're talking about the best entry, it was the SFP. Sweep of this low right here. Trying to get in on the active position, if that's what you're asking. Trying to, man, a lot of it's kind of late relative to our move. You got to think R&R, man. R&R should be your primary, final rule with every single strategy that exists, right? Does it provide you at least a 1 to 2? Or if you have a very, very, very high win rate, a 1 to 1, right? If you have a super high win rate, 1 to 1s are okay. But 1 to 2 should be your final rule. And if you're just aping in here, relative to a proper stop loss guard, so when we get knocked out, you're getting a 1 to 1 where we currently are. You could use this low, but it's not the active strong low until we take this high. And based on that confirmation, it'd be a 1 to 1 at that point. So you could try to get in on the retrace, man, but it's you're not entering on the same conditions that we jumped in on if you're jumping in late. So if we do get a retrace to tap the orb and the VWAP and then continue to go up, that could be an opportunity. But I'll just be cautious. It'd be better for you to wait for structure for a short, if I'm being completely honest. I don't like it encouraging people to jump in late. Okay, we have. Do you think Bitcoin will ever go to 55K? I do think that 59.9 could be swept first before leaving. But the thing is, yeah, some people are calling 40K, and I think that's not happening. I don't think that's happening. Just so you guys are aware, for Bitcoin to reach 40K would suggest Bitcoin having the worst on-chain conditions in its entire history, like predating $200 Bitcoin. So 40K would be absolutely terrifying in terms of on-chain. Like, institutions would be underwater. BlackRock would be underwater. Everyone, like over 30% of the supply. Oh yeah, over 38% of the supply will be held underwater at that point, which would be insane. So I get that there are people out there that are telling you targets like $10,000, $8,000, $40,000, but it would be the first time in history that we'd have that stress point in terms of on-chain. And I could prove it to you with on-chain analytics, but it would take up too much time for today. I should make just a video on it, but I will remember 40K, Christian. And if you're right, then you're right. I don't have no problem with being wrong. Like trading, you have to be okay with being wrong, right? And that just means we have a better buy opportunity. But our on-chain metrics right now are the same, other than the new pull chart. Our on-chain metrics are the same as if Bitcoin was worth $16,000. That's our conditionings right now. And you could just look at one metric would be the supply and profit and loss is an easy one to like kind of help gauge that. But there are half a dozen ones that I use that are all but one of them are met pretty much. Sui, Jasmy, CRO. All right, let's take a peek at Sui. All right, if you're looking for a new re-entry, this could be the opportunity. We're testing the VWAP and orb. I haven't reached that sell wall yet. I'd look to see how this candle closes. If we close back inside the orb, we can actually rotate down lower. Yeah, we close back inside the orb and below VWAP. So this next candle, it's a higher probability of rotating back down to here. Where's Cardano's positioning on that? I bet Cardano's retracing hard soon. Momentum candle, nice. Let's see. Cardano could retrace hard from that. BNB coming down to retest. Solana SFPs mitigated the 15-minute order block and created a 15-minute order block simultaneously. So VWAP is where I would expect a potential bounce on Solana. All right, Sui, what's Sui doing? After Sui, we're going to do the giveaway, and then we're going to jump on to our next assets. I got another hour before I have to jump off, guys. All right, Sui, the last time we were looking at it, we were preparing for a bounce. Here, based on lower time frames, I suppose. Let's see. Yeah. So we got a bounce, break of momentum, acceptance into the local valley area. Internal, everything's kind of internal thanks to this crazy wick level low. Let's look at the structure here. I guess my indicator's got it drawn for me perfectly. Okay, so we got, here will be our break, acceptance into the valley area. During that moment, when we got acceptance through a change of character or from the pullback and then higher high break of structure, which is preferably what you should look for, you can enter during that moment. I would have your stop loss here, targeting the value area high. We got that full rotation up. We had the bearish opposing change of character. But during this moment, you'd be, my bad, adapting your fixed range volume profile pull. Okay, right when you had that break of structure, you'd adapt your pull. And every passing candle, you could keep adapting your pull. So sometimes what people will do is they will switch from a fixed range to an anchored VWAP until we close outside of it, and then they'll switch back to fixed range just to make it so they don't have to keep adapting it. I prefer doing fixed range. I think it's better for like teaching. Once we escape it, you stop your pull. Once we get acceptance back in it, you continue your pull. And then here we got acceptance back inside the value area for the short. Really good, very good confluence of losing the point of control after we got that change of character. Stop loss here at the strong high. Target the value area low. Get to the value area low. And here we are now. We have breaking momentum again, right? You can monitor momentum, pace of the buyers, pace of the sellers. Evolving momentum. So now we're at the value area low. We got the price action at the point of control. And this needs to be adjusted. What's going on here? Oh, I see. Okay. So here, sorry guys. Highest high. Anyways, during this moment here, when we tap the value area low, get that bullish change of character, flip, continuation, mitigate the supply that induced the initial pullback here, right? And then we got a pullback here, just like everything else did. I wonder if there's any confluence there. Yeah, golden pocket test and 15-minute order block. There's an order block right here. So that was a really good entry here. Bit of a sniper entry for sure. You'd have your, I would normally recommend like waiting for a lower time frame bullish change of character so you can use that as your stop loss. If not, you're using like external price action data to help identify a stop loss guard. So a stop loss would be here. Whether you entered here or you entered here, it's the same location. Just one gives you the later entry and newly formed liquidity to help with your bias. We have bullish order blocks now below us. Very similar to Solana's posture, except Solana kind of mitigated its 15-minute already, whereas Sui has a little bit of relative strength. We did sweep a high, right? So we did have like a legacy SFP or a sweep here, suggesting a potential move down. But we do have some, we're just dancing around the point of control right now. 15-minute order block, VWAP confluence to help hold us up. If we do go down, it could just induce a bounce for a continuation up. We have buy side momentum that we can monitor. It's very, very broad. Let's delete all this noise that we created here together. It's very broad. So what I would look for next for evolving momentum is a pullback of 2 candles or more, then a higher high, and then draw that. And that will give you a suggestion that the pace of the buyers has sped up. It definitely has, but it's better to wait until you have that structure first before drawing, or else you could give yourself like a trend line that's not very helpful. And then next, we'd want to look for opposing confluences for shorts inside this range. We have supply in our face right here, from here to here. That helped induce the pullback here. We mitigate this little guy right here. Right, that's out now. So we have this guy here as our main threat coming up. That starts at 105. Oh, sorry, I got different assets in the brain here. So $1.05 is the floor. So I'd look for very, very similar structure to this, right? Pull, like, the high, pull back, higher high, bearish change of character, and then target the value low. Just like that. And again, if we instead get above it, use it as support, break a structure, this posture can lead a move back up. I'll be watching $1.15 at first. 50-day EMA is up here too, $1.26. And that EMA is in confluence with this regression trend supply. Let's just watch out for that. And then, but I would stick bearish at first. I'd expect for us to rotate back down. The market is 80% more likely to range than it is to trend. So people on the 1 minute time frame, this is trending, but we're just in a big range, guys. We've been in here for 15 days now. So yeah, we got our long conditions met from last time we were talking about it. Same kind of scenario here. We didn't really talk about it since, but same story. And now we're looking for, if you're not an existing long, you should be looking for potential shorts. And that starts at $1. $1 is a psychological level. You just prepare for a close and acceptance back in it after the change of character. And then target the value low while being very mindful of the point of control. It's a really strong point of control, honestly. So just be cautious around here. And that's at a 96.86. And we're fighting it now as resistance. And we're holding this orb right now as support and VWAP as support. If we weren't, I bet Sui would be. Sui and Solana and BNB would have a much harsher correction than they're getting, right? All right, we went through Sui. Dylan, you do an orb of 15 minutes. Yep, the first 15-minute orb. Okay, guys, I think we're good to start the giveaway. And then we can do I got some time after the giveaway to do some more TA too. We got some requests to look at Jasmy, CRO, AVACs. Not AVACs, I wonder how that's doing. Kind of getting slaughtered. That's some sauce you have. Don't even realize major psychological levels. Yeah, rounded numbers. Rounded numbers. Okay, got it all ready here, guys. Let's pull it up. So the first giveaway is going to be for the $6,000 account to Klein funding. If you haven't already typed in giveaway, it's kind of past it there, guys. But yeah, $6,000 to Klein funding. Klein funding is a prop funding account platform. They are partnered with Bybit. So you'll be trading using Bybit's liquidity, which is kind of nice. So yeah, you'll get access to a $6,000 account if you're the winner here. So let's see what happens. And the next winner, oh, waiting for participants. What are you talking about? All right, guys, I might have to redo all that. Like, I'm so sorry. 1 sec here. I'm just gonna log back in. That's brutal. That's crazy, man. Let's pull up. Just get through the security right now. All right, logged back in. Start listening. All right, just not going to reset the entries. Oh, here we go. Bogdan. Oh, Bogdan. Okay, Bogdan's a winner. He's one of our members. All right, Bogdan, congratulations, man. He's been a member for a while now. At least a few years, it seems. All right, cool. I will be posting this in the announcements, guys, along with like steps on how to claim your prize. But yeah, Bogdan, you won a $6,000 account, man. So just so you guys are aware, when you guys type in a giveaway, you're given like one ballot entry to win. But members, whether they're here or not, they get ballot entries just for being a member. So Bogdan, yeah, you won a $6,000 account, man. Congrats. Yeah, he's definitely, I believe he's profitable already as a trader, so he can utilize this reward relatively well. I'd recommend, like, when you get the funds for this, to, you know, when you withdraw your profits, put them into your exchange so you can fuel your own account and scale that way. Next winner is going to get $100 worth of Karma tokens. Karma tokens is an asset that I've created about 4 years ago on the Binance Smart Chain, or we migrated to the Binance Smart Chain. But yeah, as you hold it, you earn more tokens from the ecosystem. Even if you don't connect your wallet to anything, you automatically receive rewards. Let's see what the winner is. Chow, bro, you deserve that too, man. All right, Chow won $100 for the Karma. Fuck yeah. This guy, whenever he jumps into our calls, you got to put on your tinfoil cap. He's reading the Epstein files right now. Which actually, by the way, would be pretty helpful when you're like preparing for, you know, certain lawsuits and all that stuff. Like, reading Epstein files can give you an edge in knowing which assets could crash based on certain arrests. So you can get ready. But congratulations, guys. You got Bogdan and Chow. Right on. All right, let's dive into TA on our next assets. We had a request to look at Jasmy. We got a request to look at view message. Oh, someone's posting their address. Yeah, don't post your address in here. It doxes you. Counter, JR. And no one here is going to be like sending you money. If you keep doing it, you might end up getting blocked from the chat there. Sorry. All right, cool. Let's look at, Jasmy was request. Next CRO was request and AVACs. We got about 45 minutes before I got to head out. So Jasmy, it's been a while. February 13th. So that was a Friday just before Valentine's Day. We were talking about this massive demand zone for it. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like we were preparing for like this local little valley area here. A little rejection here. And it didn't, we ended up getting to the extreme high before coming back down to the valley area low. Let's see, in terms of structure on the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, we didn't have a bearish change of character until we broke this low. So a long wait. Well, let's adapt this though. Let's adapt this poll. And I'm going to zoom out on this green box because it's kind of obnoxious. Let's see why we have it here. It's just extremely important demand zone. It's fully mitigated now though. So, if we lose this demand zone for Jasmy, we go into like the previous bear market conditions in October 2023. Like it's pretty rough. So we do not want to lose this level. Or else we get that full rotation down to 1.00343, which is almost a 50% loss of the current market cap for Jasmy. Let's see. We did break momentum, so the pace of the sellers have kind of like slowed down a bit. Like we delete this, you delete this. We can delete this noise. I want to mark this properly. you'll see 95-day. So 95-day previous point of control. Get this mark too. 95-day previous value low, and then lastly, our 95-day previous value high. Oh, this one's actually marked to the macro for leaving 525-day. You want to label the higher time frame, or the larger impact value over the lower one when they're that close together. It's not going to be, it doesn't need to be that refined. Value areas is about trying to use data to help prepare for rotations. So it doesn't need to be super refined. It does obviously help, but the 500-day is going to have a more weighted impact over the 95-day, and they're right beside each other. So 95-day value area high and value area low. It's like encased around here. We can actually adapt our, let's go to the 4-hour. This is our supply right here. We mitigated up until this point. That's why our zone is so refined. And we have an order block there, so and we haven't mitigated it. So basically, in order for us to mitigate that order block, we need to tap below. We need to at least tap this this low and this doji. And we haven't. We front run it a little bit. I can make that a little bit more. Yes, we know it's an order block. Okay, we have our wick level marked, so we know we can prepare for shorts there. We have our 50-day EMA here. We can adapt a fixed range volume profile pull from here, from the point of mitigation, to our current price action, right here. We lost momentum, use it as resistance. We have momentum here that we're fighting right now as resistance. So it seems like Jasmy has its positioning definitely has some relative weakness against other alts right now. We do have that inverse head and shoulders on the 1-hour. Kind of Batman style too. Just watch out for him. It's upside down right now. Yeah, so we need to close above this high to get that hourly bullish change character, inverse head and shoulders break, and to potentially see it close above that POC to get that full rotation to the value high, where I would prepare for shorts again. Better confluence for shorts at the 50-day EMA, because depending on how long it takes for us to catch up and price action to get there, you could have that 4-hour order block, supply, wick here. So there's a wick here, meaning that there could be liquidity resting up here. So all that opposing confluences, if you have a bearish change character, you can jump into a short. Depending on its positioning, right? If it's a big one like this or a little one, if it's a small one at the top here, you have to watch the value area high potentially acting as a form of support, right? Because you could have this opportunity where we come up, get the higher high, and then leave the value area, right? When we have a deviation away from a value area, you should always prepare for that potential scenario, right? We get below, we could act as resistance and go lower. And potentially rotate to a previous value area. So I would be, if you're not on an existing long already, I personally would be waiting for a short. Right here. Just at least to the value area low, the local one. So around 0.00643. And then you'd be targeting around 0.00549. And you can look at the liquidity heat maps as well to help with your targeting for potential reversals. So I bet we've stacked some. Based on this order flow, yeah, stack, stack, stack. This is a relatively horizontal well as well, so we probably have a bunch of liquidity here too. So we take that and then come back down. I can pull up the liquidation heat maps just so I can prove it to you guys. Go to symbol, type in Jasmy. We're just going to pull up the 24-hour. Got a bunch below us, a little bit above us. But what you want to do is you want to see the age of the range, where the supply began. Right? And we see that we've been here for 20 days. So then you go back to that chart. I think I just pulled the order books. I did. There we go. And you want to encase that 20 days. So to encase it on Glassnode, you need to have a 1 month look back period. And we see stacked liquidity below us, here and here, and a bunch right above those not equal highs, but that kind of like that head and shoulders kind of structural highs here. So at 0.00639, a bunch of liquidity up there. Jasmy. So definitely prepare for shorts there. Think of liquidity as entry and exit plans for market makers. And you can have your entry and exit plans be aligned with them so you can use liquidity as a tool just like a market maker would. Bitcoin got that bounce. Trying to get that higher high. You can dissect things in lower time frames in this point. How's HBAR looking? You can take a peek at that. We got to go through the list here first. AVAC was another request. HBAR I'm curious about. I like HBAR's utility. The nano contract system is kind of a game changer for a lot of developers, or even people who aren't developers and trying to develop. Last time we looked at it, we were preparing for looks like we're preparing for shorts up here. Longs off this demand. Demand didn't hold. Delete. Way down here now. AVAX. Oh, we're talking about AVAX, yeah. AVAX is, man, that's not good. If I have a pale box like this, it usually means it's a key level. Very important key level. Man. So AVAX is in a huge make it or break it moment. I'm going to delete a lot of this noise because it's not really necessary anymore. Undo that. Alt click. If you hold control and you click and drag, you can highlight all of your data and delete. And then boom. Clean chart. So yeah, AVAC started strong. Like we had some front run opportunities here. Just like kind of same vibes as Cardano when it was at 30 cents the last time. So just like AVAX. Great front run opportunities. Broke a macro momentum. Then we failed against the previous bull market valley area. It basically had a massive double top and had this demand holding it up. And when we lost that, thus began the bear market. Here we got this massive regression trend after confirming the bull market trend line as support. And just it hasn't really done well since. And when we came down, that October 10th crash really messed up a lot of charts. We ended up using it as resistance, came down, and now we're here. And it swept the lows the last time we were here from this crazy wick here. And we took the October 10th wick low too. So now we don't have to worry about like price action being internal anymore for AVAX. Other than the fact that it is a little bit here. Pull back. So this is kind of the equivalent to Bitcoin reaching 59.9K right here. It only has this is a Binance chart. So this is like the first liquidity move from Binance. And so this is technically a form of demand. But man, yeah, you don't want it to come back down there. Let's zoom in a little bit. So we have our momentum. It's the pace of the seller since $36.16. We're at $9.16 now. We have supply here that helped induce this pullback, right? So if we zoom in on the 4-hour time frame, it's a little more clear. We can mark our wick level low. We can delete this. We do not want a full body candle close below this. It's okay to sweep it, but you do not want a full body candle close below it. Our supply market here. To mitigation. Send it back. We can delete this. This has now became one of AVAX's most important levels. This thing can turn to a zombie asset if we get down too low. AVAX has supply issuance that causes inflation, but I think mainly what's beating it up is now we have so many competitors in the space. AVAX is one of those OGs where it didn't have as much competitors in terms of networks. So now we have Sui, we have there's so many base. So if you see assets kind of creating the same thing, but they're doing it better, they're going to do market absorption. They're going to take from existing assets and grow. And when you're holding any assets, you kind of want to like bring it down to as low amount of assets as possible in the crypto space because of how quickly things develop. It's easy to know. It's easy to find assets being created that end up doing the same thing that other existing assets are doing, but they just end up being the new hot thing, or they're just developing it faster or better. Like Sui kicked the crap out of why can't I think Ethereum. This wormhole technology really siphoned a lot of its liquidity. So yeah, we can pull a fixed range volume profile from here to here, where we mitigated up to this point in the supply. Right now we're fighting against the POC, getting close to its value area high. The pace of the buyers are right here. We look for our opposing bearish change of character here. Loss of momentum confluence. Getting closer to the weekend. Broad momentum suggests lower volume. And we could also watch for, the potential of this level acting as a form of support and mitigating supply for a move up. Move up, our next big boss is right in our face. Right here. Starting at $10.68. That's AVAX. Yeah, I'm preparing for a short as well on this. And its positioning looks like a bear flag. Bear flags, the reason why they are statistically more likely to break to the downside is because they take liquidity from the upside, but they stack it from the downside, right? So it's more likely to come down and grab that before going back up. It's very common for double bottoms left side to start as a bear flag. Right? Supply pulling back, hopefully taking the low, giving us a new key level, adding more buy side liquidity, driving us up, and then off to the races. So that is what we could be staging right now. Could be staging a large double bottom. But yeah, think bearish right now. Good time to prepare to accumulate, but you won't be accumulating in a position of strength. This thing could be this could keep going down until we find a structure agreeing with us that we're going up in a macro sense, like a daily change of character, or at least a 12-hour change of character. It's a big bet that we're, you're kind of like gambling at that point that this is the bottom. I think that it's possible for 55K to be tested. And that's where legacy support is for Bitcoin right now. HBAR. Let's take a look at HBAR. HBAR. I wonder how it tends to have its own moves once in a while. A good trend trader's asset sometimes. We haven't looked at it in a while. February 9th. Yeah, it looks like we had our pull up until this point. February 9th. And then, yeah, looking for a bearish reaction. There's an hourly order block here. We had a bearish flip after testing the order block and grabbing liquidity from this wick level high. And then came down. We adapt our pull up until that moment. It came down, it hit our point of control, then double bottomed off of it, testing these previous highs, testing the POC, double bottomed, and then we did exactly what I'm trying to warn you guys about. Had that break of structure leading up, kind of like tested these highs using it, and told us that we were likely going to be leaving that valley area. Let's zoom out though a little bit. So it just came and tested this supply up here. So we can delete this noise. Had the inverse head and shoulders. Definitely relative strength on HBAR. It's kind of doing its own thing. And mark. Got like a bull flag kind of posture. Same thing with the bear flag, right? The reason why they're statistically more likely to go to the upside. They create resets and oscillators. When price action goes up violently, you want it to consolidate for a bit, right? We're coming down to retest these highs for this inverse head and shoulders posture. You want resets oscillators, cools down the markets. It's showing you a sign that people are taking profits, but not aggressively. So you typically have a key level in flags almost every single time. Well, every single time, right? Right now, based on the 4-hour posture, it's here. We could have lower time frame posture to help front run that. I can go through that too. But we're basically just fighting against this big supply zone. Almost fully mitigated it right here. And the cool thing about flags is that they give you a story on the momentum. You can grab what's called the mast. So you click at the top, the highest point, I guess that'd be the wick level here. Highest point to most recent area of consolidation. Right, and it gives you a measurable target, and you find the low prior to the break, just prior to the break, so we could still continue to go down, and that it would change and rotate this to here, for example. But right now, this is where it is. And it gives you that measurable target. If momentum were to be maintained, this is where we're going next. Likely to grab liquidity from these highs. That's the story of a bull flag. So we take liquidity from below us as fuel to help drive us back up. And we stack it above us as a magnet to bring us up. All right. But yeah, big key level for HBAR is where we're kind of dancing right now. 0.098 was a historical level of resistance. It's like a front run to psychological, psychological level at 10 cents, right? So we're trying to get back above that. We have more macro momentum here that we're breaking right now in confluence with all this. So it's just trying to get a full rotation and potentially back up. Maybe to 13 cents again. Got some daily order blocks in our face along the way. But we almost fully mitigate the supply. So we've already hit the boss and it's bleeding out. So we got to finish him off before we can continue up. Until then, you wait for opposing structure. And that opposing structure can come in the form of an SFP from this high. We have a 4-hour order block here. We can move this up to mitigation to clean our chart up a bit. You're kind of coming down to retest the VWAP previous highs and momentum. So what you want to see right now is that bounce and higher high to then prepare for potential rejection here. But a close above here would give us that extension, likely to start taking out the liquidity at 11.25. So if I were to draw pathing, what we want to see is a bounce here. And then we're preparing for a potential rejection here. But if we get the continuation instead, you hold it as support, then this is where I would prepare for a reversal. I think we have this is an HBAR chart. So if you type in exclamation point charts inside the server, the Discord server, you guys will get access to this chart so you can monitor this pathing to help you with your own trade plans. But yeah, HBAR definitely has relative strength. Assets are stuck in long-term ranges, whereas HBAR, since we kind of came back down to like a strong psychological key level and historical valley area, and we held it as support, it's got some more buyers' interest than most assets right now. Doing really freaking well. Okay. Bitcoin, what are you doing, man? We got a local SFP here. Double top. So it hit its local SFP target already. We don't want to close inside here, or else we're going to rotate back down. E-Gold. CRO. It might be a good time to like close and look for a re-entry. Accept the peanuts instead of taking a loss. Or it might just mean holding longer. Kind of what we did here. All right, CRO. Oh, we don't have a CRO chart. So I'm going to pull it up here. OKX or crypto.com. I'm pretty sure I've done TA on this thing before. Yeah. Crazy. Okay, our short did really freaking well. But yeah, we had this ridiculous macro broadening wedge on Kronos. The biggest I've ever seen in my trading career. 1,000-day broadening wedge like this is just stupid. Had violent moves up, taking macro liquidity, and then coming back down, finding support and running back up. But these statistically break to the downside the same way like a bear flag would when they're ascending, right? When they're descending, they're more likely to break to the upside. But they tend to have boring targets because of the fact that they're broadening. Their targets usually are just the base of the structure. So it's suggesting that we could come down to here, as low as here. But we do have, you got to think of the opposing barriers that could prevent that. And 0.07 is a strong key level on CRO. So 7 cents. We might have swept the October 10th crash. Let's mark that. So get your horizontal ray magnet, cling it to the wick. Oh, we front ran it. That definitely makes me feel like it's gonna be taken. Okay. But yeah, this was a key level that if broken, we swept it before, but we need to have a full body candle close below. So this was the moment right here. Now you'd prepare for that rotation down to that key level. And it was a relatively decent setup. So I didn't take it, but yeah, stop loss could have been above this pullback. You had 2 consecutive candle pullback here, here, entry candle here, and the target was like hit to the pretty much to the micro penny. But now that same spot that we'd be using as your stop loss guard for that setup, I can delete that, is now a form of supply. So here we have to watch out for opposing bearish structure. Send it back. We have the 50-day EMA here. We can delete this. We can delete this. Definitely got that inverse head and shoulders kind of vibes in the lower time frames. Pull the fib from this low to our current high. Yeah. Fixed range from here to here. Fighting against the point of control, losing. Bitcoin confirmed that double top, guys. So we could rotate down to take the local low. Yeah, lost momentum here. This was the we had an SFP here, generating this as our strong low. Close below here, retested, telling us that we're going to come down to our valley area low. So we haven't even hit that pathing target yet. But it looks like it tried to hold the previous highs as a form of support, along with being carried up with everything else. But yeah, it's looking weak right now alongside Bitcoin. So this thing that definitely had some relative weakness if you compare it to like other alts. Like some are doing really well recovering and this one's not. There's definitely supply issuance with the Kronos. I do believe they tied it with their utility with their cards. So you can stake it and earn more of it. And because of that, it causes it to be inflationary. So you got to watch unlock dates, all that stuff. Or flow dates when there's a lot of funds flowing into staking on a certain date and they have a lock mechanism, then you got to watch those outflow dates that could end up inducing drops when people sell their assets. Because I know Ethereum had one at this previous all-time high that really screwed it up. Okay, so yeah, I would expect a rotation down here where I would prepare for longs again. Put the order blocks here. Let's start on the 6 hour. Alright, that's encased already. That's encased. Let's see, is that correct? Yep. Alright, we got a 4-hour order block here we can mark. Stack confluences for shorts. That's at 0.08275. We've got hourly. So we've got cluster 45. That one's, yep, that one's correct. So you got a bullish order block here at 0.7462 in confluence with the deviation of the value area and likely pooled liquidity below here. Below the low at 0.7508. Template. Yeah, so I don't have a chart for CRO. So if you're going to use this to help guide you in your own setups, I'd screenshot it for CRO. So you'd be looking for longs around here, or opposing structure here for shorts. But yeah, but right now we're kind of in the zone where you don't want to be touching anything. All right, going back to Bitcoin. Yeah, I just want to talk about the double top which just occurred. See if we got the acceptance back inside the orb, lost VWAP, and that opposing confluences suggest that we could start coming back down to right now, like our first barrier along the way down is this orb low. But we push liquidity. We do have some wick levels here, but we have a lot of liquidity down here. So if we come down here, we're preparing for a sweep and return back up. Take this high. Use that double bottom structure, that liquidity that's stacked above us to drive the price up. We didn't tap or mitigate the sell wall, but sometimes sell walls help induce price action return down if it's strong enough, but 300 is usually not notable. If it was like 1,000 or like maybe like a 1,000 Bitcoin or more is usually something you have to like front run because it induces price action to go down. But yeah, based on this, I'm expecting for us to come back down to here, sweep these lows, and get a bounce reaction here at that 66,427. When you see that kind of posing structure, like right in your face like that after jumping in, it's good to take some off the table and just look for a re-entry and use the same stop loss guard. If not, you can just hold, stay true to your position. I do gotta head out very soon, guys. 0. So yeah, we went through a lot of assets today. Went through AVAX, HBAR, Jasmy, Sui, Solana, Bitcoin, BNB, Cardano. Yeah, quite a bit of assets. I'm probably not gonna be able to go through. I might be able to do one more. But yeah, also Brian just started a live. Oh, nice. Let's take a peek. Brian. Yeah, Brian's one of our coaches. I just started typing Brian on Google. I need to YouTube him. Real talk. You gotta bombard this guy. Flood him, guys. If you're looking for a great, he's very bearish. We call him Bearish Brian. But yeah, head to this guy's channel here, guys. This is live right now. going on. He's new to YouTube, but he's been trading for about 3 or 4 years now. So he's just starting off. He's got 136 subscribers, so we should just flood him. I'll put the link inside the live here, and then I got to jump off anyways. But he does a call with you guys at 9 a.m. Eastern inside the community. It's a part of your membership. But yeah, check him out. He's a great guy. He might already be in an existing short, or he might be looking for long soon. He's pretty bearish. Let's see what we got. Let's get him.
I hear my kid cracking up in the bedroom. My wife went to a funeral to go to, so it's just me and Hallie. And I'm sitting next on the couch. And I'm like, "You want to go to bed, take a nap?" She's like, "No." Not even a minute.
All right, guys. I gotta head off.
Let's get into bed.
Hope you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Congratulations to the winners of the giveaway. We got $6,000 account to Bogdan, and then $100 worth of karma to Chow. Pretty cool. I'll do the announcement so you guys know how to claim it. I'll see you guys on Monday. Trade safe. The volume might start to dwindle. But yeah, we're still expecting that rotation to the upside of the value area. But our invalidation point is this low at 65,574. A close below that. Then 64,500 is a good key level to prepare for a strong reaction. Not strong enough to maybe get us acceptance in the value area again. But here, there's over $200 million worth of liquidity, and it's our golden pocket from the extreme low to our range high. So just prepare here. If we do come down there, that's going to be a good spot for a scalp. If we do continue and we end up using our value area low as resistance, this is longer term stuff, but yeah, maybe we'll get that low taken soon. But yeah, I'm still optimistic for our setup. It's basically just dragging its feet along our journey up. Our big concern along the way would be the point of control still at 68.95, and then the targeting is going for 69,850 to 70,150. All right, guys, you have yourselves an amazing day. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I just enjoyed talking to you guys. We went through a lot of assets, and on Monday, I don't have a short day either. I can probably do about an hour and a half, 2 hours as well on a live there too. I'll see you guys then. See you guys.